of the G-Shine set of the Blood Street Gang. The charges are the result of a long-running wiretap investigation conducted by our office in conjunction with the Drug Enforcement Administration, the New Jersey State Police, and Newark PD. The sad part about it is some of the employees of the Rotunda Recreation Center in Newark were arrested as part of this takedown. Looks like the gang that was dealing these drugs were dealing it not only out on the streets but also through this rec center, which is obviously something that was put together by the city of Newark to help kids, someplace where they could go, where they could swim, where they host events for children and families in need. They have a youth boxing academy and a chess program, and unfortunately some people took advantage of their positions, and we believe the evidence will show that they were dealing drugs at that facility as well. Today we unsealed a federal complaint that charges 12 gang members and associates with conspiracy to distribute 1 kilogram or more of heroin. 8 individuals were arrested this morning, while 1 remains at large. 3 were already in federal custody. We're also announcing charges against 6 other defendants who were previously charged or convicted by our office during the course of this investigation. Members of this gang sold narcotics, specifically fentanyl-laced heroin and crack cocaine, at the Janice Cromer Village, which is also known as Broadway Townhomes, a public housing complex located near 2 elementary schools and a high school. As described in the complaint unsealed this morning, the 2 leaders of the organization, Edward Williams and Wally Duncan, are members of the G-Shine set of the Blood Street Gang. Williams and Duncan obtained their supply of narcotics, including fentanyl and heroin, from Raheem Jackson and Arthur Hardy. Arthur Hardy is the director of the Rotunda Recreation and Wellness Center. They delivered the narcotics either personally or through drug runners. Both suppliers have also been charged as part of this investigation. As I mentioned previously, these gang members used the Rotunda Recreation and Wellness Center to conduct narcotics transactions and as a stash location for the narcotics. The rec center is supposed to be there for the kids in the community, not for drug dealers. Hardy has a prior federal criminal conviction. He is, as I said, currently the director of the center. In 2009, Hardy pleaded guilty in this district to a heroin conspiracy. He was sentenced to 37 months imprisonment and 5 years supervised release, which was terminated in 2015. Jackson and Williams are also employees of the Recreation Center. Jackson, too, has a prior federal criminal conviction from the Southern District of New York. In 2009, he was sentenced to 10 years in federal prison and 4 years supervised release, which he's currently on. The investigation relied on court-authorized wiretaps on a number of different cell phones, controlled purchases by informants, hundreds of hours of surveillance, and search warrants on close to a dozen different locations. This is just, to me, another victory for law enforcement and this community and for the city of Newark. I've stood up here several times now and had the honor to talk about it. What you see today with the cooperation of law enforcement in Newark is just incredible. Our partnerships with the DEA, the New Jersey State Police, Newark PD, Essex County Prosecutor's Office, the Essex County Sheriff's Office, and our local police departments such as the Rockaway Township Police Department, our other federal partners such as the ATF. It's the sharing of intelligence between these agencies and the ability to work seamlessly together that provides us the ability to do this. Right before I came in, I was told we're up to approximately 100 gang prosecutions just from our OC Gangs unit this fiscal year, which is not over yet, and we're over 200 gun prosecutions as a district this fiscal year as well. You don't get those kind of numbers and you don't have that kind of impact on a community without the folks that are standing behind me. You also don't do it without the hard work of the assistant U.S. attorneys in this office, and in this particular case, AUSA Heather Sikorsky, who put in a tremendous number of hours to make sure that this case got taken down. I'm going to introduce you right now to my colleague from the DEA, Sue Gibson, who's the special agent in charge of that office. She's going to say a few words.
Hello, everybody. Today, we made the lives of the residents of the Broadway townhomes just a little bit safer by taking some very violent people off the streets who were responsible for drug trafficking and violence in that area. Not only were they trafficking drugs, but they were trafficking heroin, which mostly tested positive for fentanyl. And as we all know, fentanyl is a leading cause of death that we're dealing with overdoses right now. Essex County has the highest rate of overdoses in the state of New Jersey, and fentanyl is one of the reasons why. So we're happy that we got these guys who were trafficking fentanyl, and we hope to have many, many more prosecutions similar to this, and I am so grateful to have worked with our partners in law enforcement in this great state. Like Mr. Carpenino said, definitely we can't do it without each other, and I would definitely like to thank the New Jersey State Police. I know the members of the high-intensity drug trafficking group, DEA, Group 1, really valued their cooperation with the New Jersey State Police, the Sheriff's Department, Bureau of Narcotics. The Newark Police Department had great relationships with them to get this case done. I would also like to thank ATF, HUD, New Jersey State Parole, U.S. Marshal Service for helping with the takedown this morning, and if it wasn't for them, this case would not be possible. DEA, we look forward to doing more cases like this and working with our counterparts. Thank you.
Okay, now I'd like to have Director Ambrose from the Newark Department of Public Safety come up.
Thank you. Just to echo the U.S. Attorney, thanks again to our federal partners. It's the second time that we're standing up here in this room within the last 40 days that there was a major takedown to make Newark a safer place. Just about 40 days ago, the ATF had an operation where we took down over 20 people and guns and drugs and money that made it a safer place up in the south part of the city. Today we stand here with the DEA, a partner, where we make the northern section of the city safer. As Ms. Gibson said, it's a safer place. I have to say that for the employees that are employed by the City of Newark as seasonal employees, the mayor has suspended them immediately this morning, and they will be terminated. I think that the men and women of law enforcement go out each and every day and work hard to make sure that the citizens of Newark and the people that work and play and visit Newark are safe. And our partnerships and our collaboration that we do each and every day is a testament of that we're in the right direction and we want to make Newark a safer place. So I thank everyone involved. I thank the U.S. Attorney's Office for some of our reduction in violence because of our partners in the U.S. Attorney's Office. Last year alone, they took over 100 cases of violence, helped us. The prosecutor's office, Prosecutor Stevens and his staff, and Chief Mitch McGuire for the work we do each and every day. So every little bit helps. We can't do it alone, and I thank everybody.
Does anybody have any questions?
Can you explain exactly how it went down at the rec center on a day-to-day basis, and to what extent were children exposed to the drugs, the drug purchasing, the bad people?
So we believe that evidence, will come out if there's a potential trial here that the rec center was a place where the narcotics were trafficked. It's detailed in the complaint, but we can't get into any details because we have ongoing investigations relating to this, and we're obviously eventually going to have either a trial or a plea related to it.
Can you describe at least what's in the complaint?
I don't have the complaint in front of me right now, but happy to answer questions afterwards.
How and why did these defendants get hired in the first place? Do they not do background checks when you work around children?
I mean, that's really not a question for the U.S. Attorney's Office.
Or for an official from New York, or somebody from New York?
Yeah.
I could. I don't want to keep kicking the can, but I think I'm going to refer that to the personnel director. The standards for hiring for police officers and law enforcement, and standards for somebody, to work in the city on a seasonal position is different. So I would say that the city administration can give you a better answer to that.
You said it was a long-running investigation. When did it start, and at what point did your investigation lead you to this rec center, and what was your was it kind of like an oh my goodness reaction, and how did that
What are the dates for the investigation
here?
Investigation began in early 2018, and the rec center came to our attention this summer.
Okay.
And so when you realize it's not every day that a rec center becomes a focal point for a drug operation.
Yeah.
Can you speak to that?
Well, first of all, let's focus on the fact that the rec center itself is not the focal point of a drug investigation. There's 3 employees detailed in the complaint that worked at the recreation department. There are many other employees there, and none of this should impugn any of the work that they do. And that doesn't mean that the rec center itself was a drug operation. What we have is we have evidence that 3 employees that were working at the recreation center were unfortunately flouting their duties and, quite frankly, conducting improper activities while they were employed at the center.
Did anyone from the rec center ever come forward to authorities or anyone from the city with suspicions that potentially they were?
We're not going to get into details about investigations and what sort of sources or cooperators and information that we had.
We're not talking about just any employee here, we're talking about the director.
Correct.
And again, even to be a teacher's aide, to get any job in any school, you have to go through a criminal background check. Are those people the subject of also an investigation?
As the director said, and I'll say again, that's something that would have to be directed to the city of Newark. I mean, we're not responsible or aware of what sort of background checks or what sort of information that they obtained.
Is anyone in this group or gang involved in any violence, known violence in Newark? The complaint didn't detail any violence.
We do believe that there's violence related to some of this gang activity. It's not something I can discuss at this time.
Can you say where in the rec center the drugs were being stored?
We cannot. All I could do is refer you to the complaint.
Can you talk about the source of where these drugs are coming from, either within the United States or outside? What was the chain there, if you can talk about that?
We have ongoing investigations related to this, and all we can do right now is discuss what's in the 4 corners of the complaint.
And you said the wiretap investigation started last year, early
2018? 2018.
The investigation did, the wiretaps began this year.
Okay.
Can you talk at all about what the demand side of it, these were being sold to people from outside Newark or mainly in Newark? Is there any way you can talk about that at all?
There's details or something. Yeah, I mean, I think this is like any other drug case in the sense that, you have Newark residents that are purchasing these drugs. You have people coming from the suburbs surrounding these areas and other neighborhoods. But it's not as if it was a significant factor for us to focus on where the, where the customer base was coming from.
Do you have any, I don't know if this is in the complaint or not, about the amount of money that this began or?
Yeah, we did not. I don't think there's any detail as to regards to, the amount of money. We're focused on the amount of narcotics.
Have you ever conducted a drug investigation that led you to a center for children before? And what's your personal reaction to the fact that this is where this investigation went?
I personally have not worked on a case when I was a line assistant that led to either a school or a recreation center, but my reaction is exactly what you expect to be. It's outrageous. It's outrageous. You take these jobs, you have a responsibility to care for the children and the community that you're serving in those centers. I think it's outrageous.
Can you say how long these employees were working at this rec center and how long this alleged drug operation was?
We can only tell you how long the investigation's been going on. And with regards to their employment, we'd have to refer you to the city of Newark.
Can we get Director Nicklaus's reaction to this?
Sure.
In addition, because obviously you've been in the city a long time, and how does this make you feel?
I think that, to echo what the U.S. Attorney said, that it sickens you that you see people that were given a job on a seasonal basis that maybe made a mistake in the past and were given a pass to come to a job and engaged in criminal activity. So it sickens you that our police officers are out there each and every day risking their lives, and that you find out that some of them are right that work for the city. But the majority of the city employees are hard-working city employees, and you always have a few bad apples in the group.
Director,
Yes.
would you say that children were in danger?
I can't say that because I'm not privy to a lot of the investigation that was done by the DEA. However, so I don't know the particulars. I haven't seen the complaint. I could say that based on what I've read, that they were in fact employed at the center where children now swim because the pool's opened. So I don't know where the drugs was, as the U.S. Attorney said, where the drugs were being stored, where the hand-to-hands were done. So it's not good for that area, and it's not good for anywhere where children are working or playing, I should say.
Were these employees part of the city's reentry program?
Not to my knowledge.
No, not to our knowledge.
It's seasonal.
when the arrest went down, did they, did it go down calmly, or was it one by one?
The arrests were all without,
How did that
yeah,
happen?
the arrests were all without incident.
And when you look at the criminal complaint spans a number of months. This investigation is ongoing, and apparently during that period of time, they were storing these drugs at the rec center. It's an operational question, but at what point do you say we've got to just take these guys off the street as opposed to just letting the investigation play out while there are drugs in a rec center that children are at?
Well, look, we have to make operational decisions, and we have to decide when we have enough proof, so when we have enough probable cause, and when we have enough to go into the court to get the search warrants that we need, to get the wiretaps up, to do what we can to prove our cases. So I'm not going to get into details, but obviously we take very seriously any allegation that there's something being stored at a recreation department, and needless to say, we moved as swiftly as we could.
Is the rec center still open?
Yeah, the rec center's open, yeah.
If you're a parent of a child who attends the rec center regularly, is there anything that these parents need to be aware of, they need to ask their children about, any potential exposure that they need to know about? I mean, if you're a parent and you're concerned, what do you need to know?
Yeah. Look, I'm not an expert in child psychology. I think the information that's in the complaint is what we know. And as a responsible parent, I know that I would talk to my children. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you very much for everything.
I'd like to make one. No. If you'd like to talk to somebody from the city, you can go to the city hall. No, we're gonna have the press conference here for the city. So please.
I don't think we can go live in here. I think we have to go outside.
That's all right. Sure. Yeah, unless it's like.